Halloween, like many others, is my favorite night of the year. I'm a huge horror fan, so it would only be natural. The vibe, the atmosphere, and trick-or-treating. The last one would be better if I weren't 20, but that doesn't stop me from going out on Halloween night with my nieces and nephews. I'm a tall kid, what can I say? There isn't a full-grown man under this full-body costume. No, not me. I just eat my vegetables. In all seriousness, I don't mind being the one stuck with the responsibility. Might as well get some free candy while I'm at it. Can you blame me? What does stop me from trick-or-treating? Oh, I don't know. Maybe a worldwide pandemic? Like many others, I've been stuck in my house for the majority of the year. I live alone in a 1-story, 2-bedroom, 1-bath house with an unfinished basement. Nothing special, but plenty for me. Layout isn't super important, but for visualization purposes, the front door opens into the living room. To the left is the door for the kitchen, which has the stairs for the basement in it. Main bedroom door is on the back right side of the living room. On the left back side of the living room is a hallway that has the bathroom at the far end on the left, back door straight ahead, and another door on the right for the smaller bedroom. Modern home, but again, nothing special. It's been remodeled a few times since it was made in the early 1900s, so there is that, I suppose. Hasn't been all bad. I've been doing a lot of reading, something that I used to do a lot growing up that I dropped for lack of time. Working all the time left me with few options in my free time. However, now that I have the time, it's been nice reconnecting with this hobby along with a few others. It's safe to say there are a ton of old books I've read through, gathering dust in a few boxes in my basement. I don't have the best immune system, so it's been a no-risk year. As could be expected, staying inside all the time does eventually lead to boredom. Only so many books can be read or video games can be played before one starts losing their sanity. Now, I'm not crazy, I think. Just bored. So when Halloween began approaching, I needed to find something to do. Something special. Something out of character for me. Something exciting. A few of my friends were throwing a party, but I felt that was irresponsible. What could I do by myself? That would be even better. I wasn't sure what I'd do yet, but I knew it had to produce a better story than some lame party could offer. As mentioned before, I've been doing a lot of reading. When browsing for new books to read, I came across one about a ritual. This sparked an idea. I started searching for Halloween rituals. I came across many, but all of them seemed either fake or had no payoff. That is, until I came across the sick or freak ritual. At first, I laughed at the name of it. How uncreative can someone be? I started reading. First, this ritual can only be performed on a full moon Halloween night. Second, the ritual must be done alone and remain alone for the duration of the night. Third, go outside and knock on the front door while saying, "Sick or freak," 1 time. Fourth, survive the night. Short and to the point. I like it. The origin of this ritual seemed to date all the way back to 1944. Interesting, considering this year is the first full moon Halloween since then. It seemed perfect, but more importantly, it seemed like a missed opportunity if I didn't do it. Again, I'm not crazy. I didn't truly think anything would happen. But hey, if the atmosphere was right, maybe I'll be able to spook myself by hearing the house settle or something. Either way, it would be better than doing nothing. The most interesting thing about this ritual was how few people were talking about it. Even then, they had no idea what happened during or after this ritual. There wasn't any useful information to be found aside from the ritual itself. I also found it interesting how this ritual was posted on October 14th of 2020. You'd think that a ritual this old would be covered in at least one other place on the internet. I didn't know it at the time, but I was very ignorant. I should have put more thought into my actions because when one doesn't, well, I'll get on to the story. To be honest, I didn't think about the ritual much leading up to the night. When I did, I'd just be reminded of how much of a letdown this would most likely be. Blah blah blah. Halloween night arrives. The ritual never specified a specific time, so I decided to do it at 10 p.m. That way it's dark, but not so late that it's technically the next day. However, if it truly mattered, it would surely be specified, right? 10 p.m. sharp. I'm on my porch getting done smoking a cigarette. No way this ritual will do anything, but I'm here so I might as well. I decided to knock 3 times. No idea if this mattered. I've seen it said many times that 3 is the devil's number or whatever. 3 a.m. is the witching hour. All that stuff seemed fitting. I knocked 3 times and said loud and with confidence, "Sick or freak?" Yeah, it was the cliche, nothing happened. I went inside and even though this is what I expected, felt let down. I sat down on the couch and flipped on the TV. Friday the 13th part 1 was on, so I decided why not. Not what I was hoping the night would be, but whatever. About halfway through the movie, it dawned on me that I didn't even get snacks. Going to get some snacks, I was hoping for a strange noise. Something, anything. But no. I popped some popcorn and took my seat once again. The movie finished and A Nightmare on Elm Street started. I was watching the movie, fully accepting by now that the ritual was a dud. Halfway through the movie, something happened. The power went out. I didn't panic and figured that maybe power went out for the town. Glancing out my window, it confirmed power was out for everyone. The streetlights and everything were off. Cool. Now not only did I hype myself up for a failed ritual, but I can't even watch the rest of the movie. Screw it. I know it's irresponsible, but maybe I'll just go to the party after all. Who knows what I'm missing out on? Pulling out my phone, I see the time is exactly midnight. Spooky, I guess. Then I see I have no service. This is a bit odd. The power being out wouldn't have any effect on my phone's service. Now I was officially spooked, but whatever. Just a strange coincidence, right? It had to be. It's fine though. I'll just drive over. Make a surprise entrance. I grab my keys off the kitchen counter and make my way to the door. As I grab the door handle, I recoil in surprise. The brass handle was freezing. Now I don't mean just kind of cold. Like full on took some of my skin off by touching it kind of cold. What the hell? Then I realize I can see my breath. This is too much. Wrapping my sweatshirt around my hand, I try the door again. Fast and painless, like a band-aid. I pull the door open and am instantly hit with freezing cold. I can barely keep my eyes trained on the opening, but it wouldn't matter anyway. All that was out there was a thick fog. I slam the door shut and collapse onto my knees. This is when I realized how badly I fucked up. There was nothing normal about any of this now. There could only be one cause for this. Regathering my bearings, I got back to my feet. Survive the night. Just survive the night. It was so cold now. I felt like I was going to freeze to the spot I stood in. My first thought was to wrap myself in my blankets and try to sleep through the night. I wrapped myself up and laid down in my bedroom. This barely helped at all, but it would have to do. After staying in my room for about 5 minutes, I heard a low scratching noise. What the hell was that? I said through clattered teeth. My bed wasn't placed in a corner, and it sounded to be coming from right behind me. Then I saw a puff of fog fall over my head and heard a wheezing sound. Whatever it was right behind me. In one quick motion, with all the strength in me, I flung myself forward and snapped around to meet the intruder. What I saw was the most grotesque woman I will ever see. She looked to be crumpled in on herself, pale skin complexion, clothes that looked to be from a long time ago. Her head was bowed in a way I couldn't see her face, and yet it felt like she was burning holes through my eyes. Her nails were the most threatening thing about her. They looked to be 4 inches in length and sharpened to a point. As we stood there, basically frozen in place, she did something that got me out of my stuck position. She let out a wail that pierced my ears and began a dead sprint over my bed and straight at me. I panicked, nearly trampling over my own feet as I reached the door and flew it open. She was hot on my trail. I didn't know where to go, what to do. My house isn't large, as mentioned before, and going outside was not an option. We reached the kitchen, and with nowhere else to go, I was heading towards the stairs for the basement. I could barely see anything this whole time, so when I reached the first step, I snapped my ankle and she collided with my back. We tumbled down the stairs together. I'm not sure if I went unconscious or not, but when I came to, I was in so much pain. I tried to stand, but when I put pressure on my right foot, I crumpled back to the ground. Then there was a low, cackling groan coming from about 10 feet into the darkness. There may have been a little laughter mixed in with it, like she knew she had me. I was reaching around for anything to defend myself with. Reaching up, I felt a box and pulled it down. Books fell over on top of me. Fuck. This is it. This is where I'm going to die. All because of some stupid ritual. Then an idea sparked. I began ripping all the pages out of every book I could get my hands on, balling them all into a circle in front of me as quickly as I could. She seemed to enjoy watching me panic, like she wanted to toy with me before going in for the kill. Once the ball of paper was big enough, I pulled out my lighter and lit it, adding whatever was within arm's reach to the fire. Before long, there was a good-sized fire going. She shrieked and went to lunge at me, shrieking again when her skin impacted with the fire. Without other options, I had to get out of here. I reached up for the railing of the stairs and began dragging myself up. About halfway, it began looking like there was hope. She was still screaming. Suddenly, a flame-engulfed hand shot out and grabbed my bad leg. I kicked and kicked, eventually knocking her loose and dragged myself the rest of the way up. About halfway across the kitchen floor, I fainted, the warmth on my stomach feeling good. I awoke to a woman shaking me, asking if I was okay. My instant reaction was to try and get away, until I was lucid enough to realize she was trying to help. She asked me to stay put, and I did just that. Roughly 5 minutes later, a couple officers came in and placed me in handcuffs. Why am I being arrested? I yelled at them, beginning to get physical with them. They began carrying me out of the house. When we reached the front door, I instantly noticed something concerning. All of the cars looked to be from a time of the past, 30s or 40s if I had to guess. What's happening? I screamed aloud, but no one would answer me. I was treated for my wounds at a hospital I didn't recognize. Charges were ultimately dropped. Apparently, I broke into someone's house on Halloween night. That didn't sound right. That was my house. How could I break into something I own? And who was that woman? They placed me in a psych ward because I kept asking what the date was and insisting that was my home. The following morning, I took my crutches and grabbed a seat in the common area. A newspaper was brought out on the table. The date was November 1st, 1944. It's been a year since then. I'm still stuck in the past. My advice for anyone out there would be to not do strange rituals you know nothing about, or any rituals for that matter. I'm doing well for myself and have managed to start a new life for myself. I miss my family. I miss my friends. I'm going to write this experience down in a notepad and bury it under my new, old house and hope it is never found. I just need to get it out of my head. It's like therapy for me. If anyone ever finds it, please burn it. Don't post it anywhere. I don't want some poor idiot to discover this ritual and perform it for themselves.